take you to school. It's time for Dishing It Up with Dr. Stroman and the Sports Shop on Buzz Sports Radio.
D-Stro, what's going on?
Man, how you doing, Dr. Stroman?
I'm just giggling about how Kmac introduces me. I like that.
What's going on, Dr. Stroman? How you doing this morning?
Oh, mercy. I'm doing well. I had a good workout this morning, and I just started giggling also thinking about the topic today with you all.
Uh-oh.
So,
Oh, no.
we had a very, very interesting presidential debate.
Yes.
We've got a lot going on in this state in terms of who will be our next governor.
Okay.
We've got some important judge positions. The nation, I believe, let's just say the circles that I'm in, we're talking politics. We're talking about what this country will be and what it will not be. I'm a strong believer that politics are everywhere. I kind of brush people off when they say they don't do politics. I believe that politics is how we govern society, how we govern organizations, how we govern relationships, how we govern ourselves. It's about the management and distribution of power. And all of these things, whether society, organizations, relationships, and ourselves, all these things, all these things move at the speed of trust. They move at the speed of trust. And so tying it to our field of sports and athletics, throughout history, athletes have taken a stand on political issues. And we can look no further than Muhammad Ali. He was a stark opponent of the Vietnam War. We've got Pat Tillman, who sacrificed and left the NFL to serve in the Army. We've got Tommy Smith and John Carlos, right, who raised their fist during the 1968 Olympics. More recently, Herschel Walker ran for a U.S. Senate seat in Georgia, where he was born and raised, and he lost to Senator Raphael Warnock. We've got Mr. Quarterback himself, Tom Brady, who publicly enjoyed a strong relationship with Donald Trump. We'll never know how he really voted, but he is quoted as saying that Donald is a good friend and that he supports all his friends. We've got one of my favorite athletes, LeBron James. He's been a loud critic of Donald Trump for many years. He spoke at a rally for Hillary Clinton. He endorsed Joe Biden. And then when we think about the recent Democratic National Convention, we've got Coach Steve Kerr for Golden State. He took a stand and basically did the night-night, speaking of Donald Trump, as in after the election, go to bed. But the news that hit following the debate was Taylor Swift. Most people would believe that this is a game changer because of her following. And even if it's just as simple as imploring all of her Swifties to go vote, I believe that most of them will vote Democratic ticket. So the question is, what if your partner's politics differ from your own? As in, what are the pros and cons if it affects your own platform? So what's Kelsey going to do? Travis Kelsey, Taylor's boyfriend. Patrick Mahomes' wife, Brittany, says that she retweeted a Donald Trump post.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes says, I'm not getting in that. Caitlin Clark, she supports Taylor Swift.
Yep.
And, of course, Caitlin Clark and her following. So I just want to open up with that. Your partner's politics, if they differ from yours, and especially if you have a major platform as a sport athlete.
Great question.
So I'm sure it's an interesting topic amongst partners and family members and alike. Everybody has separate beliefs and different ideas. I just think it always, for the most part, is going to come down to the human aspects of it, right? So we could disagree on how we should handle, Palestine. We could disagree on how we should handle Ukraine, certain areas, but there should be certain things that we shouldn't disagree on, right? And I think that's really what it boils down to. Some people say, if 8 of the things they do I like, I support this candidate. Or 6 of the things they do I like, I support this candidate. And you may say, all right, well, I can kind of go with those 6, but these other 3 are deal breaker for me, so no, I can't support them. And I think it's just that kind of conversation. But, honestly, it's all about free will for me. I just feel like people should be able to evaluate for themselves. It's just that if some things cross the line, you just got to know who you're dealing with.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. I agree with you, Pam.
I think those conversations as your partner, because I think it's probably a little different as your, with it being your spouse or whatever you call your significant other. But those are conversations you probably need to have in advance to make sure that at some point you're equally yoked.
Oh, wow.
Because you're making decisions that are going to affect the family with, who's the president and who's not. So I think for me, politics and religion, we kind of need to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about Deborah Stroman, Dishin, Stroman each and every Thursday, same place, same time. I totally disagree with what Pam just said. Because I think it's healthy, in my opinion, to have different opinions about several things.
Yeah.
I think
different viewpoints.
Right, different viewpoints. I don't
Well,
think.
let's not change my question.
Okay, what's your question?
'cause that's
Specifically, politics. Okay,
maybe I missed the question. What's the question?
Yeah. What if your partner, your spouse, your husband, wife, boo, what if their politics different from yours? As in, you support a politician who believes that we should shut down the Department of Education, that we should, and I'm not saying that, people should be wrong for hating Donald Trump. Well, yes, I am. But anyway, the point is, the politics drive how you govern your relationship.
Oh, really?
That's powerful right there.
So I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Politics not going to drive. Wait a minute. You're saying politics is going to drive how I handle my relationship? Oh, I totally disagree with that.
With your partner.
Yeah.
Sorry, tell me.
I totally disagree with that.
All right, so let's go with.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I'm
almost
trying to
like
find an example of a politician that everybody would just like. Okay, let's go with David Duke. Knowing each one of you, I know that you would not be supportive of a man who has followers who was the former head of the Ku Klux Klan.
Well, first.
So you meet your partner, and they support David Duke. They support what he stands for, white supremacy and all of that. Are you saying that wouldn't drive your relationship,
well, first of
knowing
all,
that that's how this person feels?
First of all, if that person feels that way, I mean, that's really on the extreme side, in my opinion, Dr. Stroman, because you know damn well I'm not going to be even engaging with anybody that's supporting David Duke. That's extreme right there.
All right, so take me down your spectrum. When does it become not too bad?
Here's a question. Here's one. Is we can go with the abortion issue, or we can go with gun control, right? So
there we go.
So we can go with gun control.
Okay.
So I'm a hunter. I enjoy guns. I love guns. My wife doesn't like guns at all because her uncle was shot at a bar 50 years ago, right? We would differ on opinion on how we should handle gun control. Well,
that's surface. So it's one thing to be in a relationship with someone who has a gun and someone who doesn't. But what about the politics of that? So are you both in favor of, what do we call it, common sense?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like I say one person is completely against it, one person is for it, right? Which is it's an opinion. It's an opinion. I'm against it for these reasons. I'm against it. I'm for it for these reasons. And that's an opinion. One person feels one way, one person feels another way. If you're saying okay. You really can't cooperate, you can't be together because you can't agree on everything, right? Or agree on something like that.
That's not what I said.
Okay.
So let's just say both of you have differing opinions on common sense gun laws, as in a background check,
right?
Making sure that people who are monsters can get an AR-15.
Right.
Let's say you completely disagree with that. Then I would venture to say that is a topic that you all do not discuss, right? Because it's going to elevate emotions, and that harms a relationship.
That's true. Those are facts.
That's true.
Okay.
That's
Those are
very
facts.
In
true.
that sense, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are things that you just don't talk about. I don't think that's a healthy relationship.
Oh, really?
That you don't talk about. Yeah, because you got to be able to communicate. I also
Yeah.
think
Wait,
that
because you have difference of opinions?
Not, it's a difference of opinion. It's because the difference of opinion causes a wedge. You both get quiet, or you start trying to put out your laundry list of why you feel certain way.
I got a 16-year-old, and I'm like, look, I want my kid to have a car at 16, and my spouse or partner's like, no, I don't, because I don't want to drive right now, and so that's a fundamental issue that I'm having with her. So you think that's a problem?
That's not the definition of how I describe politics. Does it matter?
No,
if your child-
I'm saying
hear me out.
hear me out.
It's a difference of go
okay,
ahead.
go ahead.
A difference of opinion is fine. I'm talking about how you govern things. Having a child have a car not at 16, that's not major to a relationship.
It could be. Is my point. It could be.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So
It could
all
be.
right, So all right. So what's next, Dr. Stroman?
I was going to say, I think it also, that question, I think now depends on, or can be different depending on what age you are.
Yeah.
Because if you're younger or you do have children, then that makes a difference, in your beliefs and things like that. So how would you raise your kids if you're total left over here and you're right over here? But if you're at our age, we're not raising young kids anymore. I just think it's different in what you can accept and what you would younger in your partner.
Now, reality is, if depending on, no matter who you are, depending on what side you're on, if you absolutely despise a person that thinks that way, now you really have a problem, because now
that's true.
Yes.
now you have a problem. But if you can have a healthy respect for a difference of opinion and a different of an idea, a different way of doing it, I think you still have something workable there. You don't have to talk about it every day. It doesn't necessarily have to be a wedge in the relationship. It's just a healthy respect. Like there are tons of opportunities that you say all the time. People say all the time, "Oh, I know my wife ain't gonna like that." Right, right. Or they say, "Oh, I know how my husband is. I know he can't stay in that right there." Right. That happens every day, all day in relationships, anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be a wedge. That's what I'm saying. That's the way I see it.
No, I agree with that. But I'm saying if it becomes a pattern, as in politics, as in governance. So let's just say your partner loves to stay out at the bar, and not till 10 o'clock at night, but till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday night.
Right.
It's a difference of opinion. The partner likes to hang out at the bar, drinking and having a good time, and the other partner likes to stay home. But if that continues over months, over years, that relationship is not healthy, because you start getting bitter. Then you end up not being able to control your thoughts, which means your something will come out of your mouth, like, "Oh, you were out again." Oh,
There you go again, going there.
You're going down that dangerous road. And so when I think about watching Patrick Mahomes in his press conference, trying to manage, trying to find the right words, which he did a good job about his wife being on the surface a supporter of Donald Trump. The default is, I'm not going there. I'm just here to play football. I'm sure behind closed doors, the two of them are going, they have to have a discussion about this. And especially with Patrick Mahomes being a black man. And I'm not saying that black people don't support Donald Trump. There are those
don't say
who
that.
do.
Don't say that, because a bunch of them do. Right. Exactly.
But this is very challenging for relationships.
Yeah.
I just believe that, when it comes to politics, as Pam used our faith language, they're equally yoked. And this is one of the areas where politics, I think, equally yoked includes politics.
No, you're gonna miss me on this one, because I think we don't have to be on the same page as a couple to have a healthy relationship. We can have various opinions about certain things. Even politics is one of them. So the fact that, you got to believe in what I believe in, that's how we can only be happy, I totally disagree with that. Totally.
I think you're taking my words and turning them to extreme.
Well, you gave me an extreme example. David Duke, that's an extreme example, in my opinion.
Right, but I came back with Donald Trump, right?
Okay.
Some people would say that's an extreme example. Okay. I don't find it extreme, but I think it represents the challenge of having two people who are moving in the same direction. I love you, you love me. we're going to be our number one cheerleaders in each other's lives, and to have one person who would support a politician who's on one side and a politician who's on the other side, I think that can be very, very. I don't see many exampple of it. I just don't.
Okay.
Now, maybe you two,
okay,
Kmac and Errol, maybe y'all are rocking it, although I know what's going on with y'all. Okay.
Wait a minute.
What the hell?
I do too.
But tell me, because I don't know.
too.
Wait a minute. Hey, look. I don't conform to shut up and dribble. She don't tell me what to do. Is it on?
It's on. And she watching.
Thank you. There is no way you could go in that house feeling a certain way about a certain candidate.
Oh, my God.
I didn't want to put y'all on blast for all the single people out there who trying to get with y'all. But, I just know.
But you just did.
Dr. Stroman, I'm sure they don't mind. Go ahead and put us on blast.
Okay. But you all know that it would be really, really difficult. Yeah.
Distro, you owned it this morning, baby. Let me tell you.
So let me challenge you with this. I know we're gonna come in real quickly, Dr. Stroman.
Thank God.
Let me challenge you with this one question, with this one idea, this one thought. It is not lost on many people that a lot of the things that changed in this country were because people that don't look like us voted to make sure things should change. And a lot of those households were split households. A lot of those households where people were voting in favor of giving blacks, African Americans or Negroes in this country different certain rights. Those were split households. A lot of men didn't feel certain, that we should have certain rights. A lot of women felt like, this is probably just not right. And I think a lot of those households, it ended up being they no longer voted completely together the same way. If you're saying that for the most part, you should only do things because you're in agreement with it, I got a feeling that we wouldn't have made as many strides as we made in this country if that was a conventional wisdom.
Well, again, I did not say that you have to be in stride.
Okay.
What I'm saying, and to your example, I believe that those folks where one person felt very strongly about a particular candidate and the other person deep down in their heart did not feel that way.
Right.
I would bet that person felt silence and they did not discuss it much at all. I believe that. And when they went into the voting booth, they would vote the way they want to, but they would not let their partner, they wouldn't go back and forth. I believe there was a very strong power dynamic in those households where the person who is like gung-ho for the candidate that might be a bit more controversial or had some values that were uncomfortable, that other person, there was a power dynamic where that person would say, well, he or she's paying the bills, or I don't want to get into it, or it would. I just believe there's a lot of masking going on in that household.
Okay.
Yeah, because you do what you need to do to keep the peace.
Thank you. You do what you gotta do.
I mean, depending on how bad you want it, depending on how bad you want it, that person, whatever it is, you'll do what you need to do to keep peace in the house. So you may be quiet about it and not make it an issue just so you can be with that person.
That's right.
But eventually that won't hold for so long.
And in the spirit of this conversation, I can respect you guys' opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's watch how it plays out with Kelsey to see if he ever says anything, if Patrick Mahomes ever says anything. Who knows what Caitlin Clark, if she's going to eventually come out and say that, hey, she's all about, she's against Donald Trump. Who knows? But, the sports world will continue to touch on this subject, and I'm looking forward to seeing who makes more endorsements as we move forward.
Yeah, too many people are trying to vote their pocket and not vote for humanity and not vote for things that matter to us as human beings. Too many people are trying to vote their pockets, and they're trying to overlook the fact that there are a lot of things that are being put in place of people and ideas and ideologies that, quite honestly, you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say that's not affecting this person of color or what have you, a woman across the table from me, and feel comfortable about that just because it's making your pockets comfortable.
Right.
Dr. Stroman, let me leave you with this. Though. And I said this to a friend of mine. You think the president made that much of a difference?
In terms of
how we govern in this country.
yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do.
How about
Now, in terms of the Congress creates the laws,
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
How about? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So when you think about on the ground, like when a policy is passed, and how do we operate all that, President, no. But in terms of the pulse and how we treat one another, you know, we look at a string of Republicans, Democrats running the White House, and look what happened to the civility of our country when Donald Trump came in office. So I think it's more of a cultural thing.
Okay.
But on the ground, in terms of doing the job, no.
Okay, you answered
not
my
at all.
question. So from a civil perspective, I get it. From a cultural atmosphere, I get that. But the county commissioners, the mayors, the senators, and the governors, politics has always been local, and we always remain to be that way. And sometimes we miss that a little bit because decisions may happen in the White House, but they get implemented, and it happen at the local level. So we have to keep that in mind as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dr. Stroman, I know we got to let you go, but I like to, in the spirit of this conversation and last week's conversation, I would like to invite you on to a brand new podcast that I just thought of called Talking Points with Reese, Kmac, Pam, and Dr. Stroman coming to you every Tuesday night. Would you join us?
I don't know if you're joking or not, but it sounds good.
She said, I don't know if you're joking or not.
In that way,
absolutely.
She said absolutely.
We
so
can continue
we'll see if we can put that on. We can continue that conversation. So
critical conversations.
Because sometimes I need more. I need more than 4 minutes.
And plus, I need to be on YouTube exclusively so I can cuss. Because when you start going out there, I'm going to come at you.
Dr. Stroman, we love you. We love you.
We love you.